Another year of Portland State women's basketball. We're here with second-year head coach Lynn Kennedy. Coach, you've got a couple games under your belt in preseason exhibition play. Talk about where your team is going into this season compared to going into last season in your first season.
Well, I think when you look at just the experience we have now coming back, those players that we have returning, they were able to play in all the games, play a lot of minutes, gain valuable experience against some tough teams in the preseason, and then in conference, beating Eastern at home was a great win for us last year, and then ending our road streak too. It was kind of nice at the end of the year to get some confidence going into this year. So you can't take that experience away, especially when you started 3 to 4 freshmen at a time. To have that coming back this year is going to be great for us, and then gaining the players that we did this year. They don't have a lot of experience. We're young again, but at the same time, I definitely feel like having taller, more athletic, skilled players at positions that we didn't have last year is going to help us this year. We need game time experience though now, and that's why last weekend was so valuable for us as far as having those exhibition games, just getting out and playing somebody new, and so looking forward to this Friday against CSUN and just being able to go against a pretty good team in the Big West, and to see kind of how we're going to go as far as this year and the potential we have as a young team heading into the Big Sky Conference in January.
The Vikings picked up a pair of exhibition wins over last weekend, first with a overtime win against Western Oregon, and then another win against Lewis and Clark. Coach, talk to me about what you saw out of your team in those first 2 games, especially that first game where you're down, you're up, and then you're down, and then you have to play overtime.
Well, Friday night against Western Oregon, they're a much improved team. I think they'll do really well in the GNAC this year, and give them a lot of credit. They played extremely hard. They've got some really good players, and we knew that going into it. We were able to extend our lead after halftime. We got a little bit of foul trouble, and we had some substitutions, and just kind of the mix of our team. We haven't seen that a lot in practice, so that was really good for us to see that. And like I talked to the team after the game, last year a lot of those games we kind of just went away. Against Weber State we had a lead second half, and they came back and we didn't finish it. And so it was nice to see that this year we've kind of changed our mentality. We've grown up a little bit as far as finishing games, even if a team comes back. It was still a tied game. They went up, and we still had that resilience to come back and to finish the game off. And especially overtime, I thought we really played the best 5 minutes of that game in overtime. So that was good to see. We got to use a lot of last-minute execution. Well, you usually don't see that in exhibition games, so we were able to do that. You do it in practice, but it's still not the same as games. And so we gained a lot of experience, as far as last-minute situations, advancing the ball at the end. I felt like our last plays to finish regulation and in overtime, you couldn't ask for better, execution, going into your third game of the year. So happy about that. Defensively, we need to pick it up. We talked about that this week as far as our intensity, being able to block out against a bigger, more athletic team, as CSUN. So, going into this game, those are the types of things that we worked on. Sunday, to come back, 2 days after that really good game on Friday night, I just felt like we, really expanded our lead in the second half, whereas we let them come back Friday. Now we expanded in the second half, and we were able to finish a little bit more strongly than we did on Friday night. And so I think going into this week, we had a lot of things to work on. We will in the next 2 or 3 weeks as a young team going into this year. But the steps that we're taking, we've got a chance now in the next few weeks to keep growing as a team, to keep learning, more about each other as we go into this season. And we're really excited about this first game and just the opportunity to go down to Northridge and play them.
Portland State opens the season on the road this Friday night at CSUN. Coach, you guys played the Matadors last year at home, picked up a nice win at home against the Matadors. Talk about that game and kind of how that translates into this year, and kind of some of those pieces that may be back for them that we didn't see.
Yeah, I mean they're a completely different team than what we played last year. They have a few players that are back, but they have their post back now, and she's really the foundation of what they do. I mean, she's probably one of the best post players we'll see all year. I mean, she is really, really good. So, going into this game, we know that we've got to focus our attention on her. And then just the things we've talked about defensively is just be more aggressive, be more intense. We can't have ups and downs. Even in our game against them last year, it just took us shooting unbelievably in the fourth quarter. I don't know what we hit as far as threes, but we hit a lot of threes in the fourth quarter to kind of pull that game out. But as far as going into this year, we know that they're completely different. They're going to be a good team. They got a chance to win the Big West this year. They got some really good players that are coming in. And so their guards, solid. They can get to the basket. They can shoot threes. And their posts, pretty unstoppable down low. So we've got a work cut out defensively. Offensively, we've got to be able to move the ball. We've got to create tempo, keep our speed up, which we did this last weekend, and we've got to continue that, going into this week. And so hopefully that tempo on the offensive end and then our intensity on defense will pick up. Should be a great game, though. First games usually are always great games. You're not the unknown of how both teams are going to be, but, we're just excited for the opportunity to go down there and play against a really good team.